We have a little bit more nuggets of information surrounding the Model Y Juniper refresh. I know, everybody's been waiting for a while now, but this one actually comes from Spain, so there's actually a decent chance at this point that the Juniper refresh may drop in Europe first. There was a few months ago, people spotted at Giga Berlin, they were testing out a refreshed Model Y. It was kind of all covered up. No reason to cover it up if there's not some kind of design change, but this one comes from Eduardo Arcos, in case you missed the 10 billion watermarks across the image. And even though it's not very well lit and doesn't reveal too much about the design, it does reveal a pretty big change up for the rear end of the Model Y design, and that's the relocation of the license plate. This one actually confused me quite a bit. So obviously, yes, it does have European plates, so it's totally possible that they're relocating it for Europe and maybe not the US, but if it does end up being true for all Model Y refreshes across the world, it looks like they're mounting the license plate more into the bumper and not so much the actual trunk like it is currently, which I'm not sure exactly how that's supposed to look, but I guess when I think back at that light bar design that was leaked a few months ago, I didn't really see a great place for the license plate to be mounted. It's almost like all these leaks are working in coordination with each other to maximize, like, don't give away too much, now let's just give them a little bit more. I don't know, I doubt that Tesla is doing this intentionally, but the way I think of it is that they're probably redesigning the diffuser on the Model Y to take up a lot more vertical space on the back, so it might look a bit more aggressive, or maybe this helps with aerodynamics a lot. And embedding the license plate there, I guess, is really the only way to ensure that they don't impede on the mount for the tow hitch. The tow hitch really has to be packed in carefully now because the license plate is much lower than it was before, and I'm sure Tesla wants to keep that on the Model Y. Despite what Whistling Diesel may have you think, Tesla does probably care a little bit about the towing performance of their vehicles, so that's an important detail to get right. But the fact that it's in Spain and that it's clearly a Model Y with a bunch of manufacturer style padding along the outside, to me shows that they do have a couple prototypes in the works. We know that demand globally for the Model Y has been slowing down a little bit, so it's probably a good time for Tesla to start experimenting with these prototypes at the factories, but the official rollout is definitely going to be an interesting technique because Tesla has 4 different factories across the planet all building the Model Y. So we saw what happened last year with the Highland refresh. It was around this time, it was around October, that they launched it for Europe first, and yes, of course, the Highland refresh was also coming to China because all of the Model 3s going to Europe were built at Giga Shanghai, but it didn't come to the US until January of the following year. So in my opinion, there's a very real chance that they refresh the Model Y in Europe and they say, this time we're actually building it here at Giga Berlin, and then maybe after that refresh it for all of the countries that receive vehicles from Giga Shanghai. And maybe the US has to wait a little bit because we've got 2 big factories here and both of them are producing hundreds of thousands of Model Ys each. So my personal prediction on how Tesla's going to roll it out, because they probably can't shut down all 4 factories simultaneously, that just wouldn't be good for cash flow. My prediction is that they will start with the performance Model Y. Unlike the Model 3 last year, because they're building the Model Y in so many different places, they're going to add all of these great features like the better aerodynamics, the new headlight design, the new light bar design on the back with the relocated license plate position that's probably part of a bigger diffuser on the rear. They do all of that for a performance model because that one's more expensive, and at least in the US, they can get away with charging up to $80,000 and still qualifying for the tax credit. I don't think it'll be 80 grand, but still, there's like no concern with price because they know there's a lot of demand built up for the Model Y. And then after the refresh has done its course in the media, everybody's made lots of videos on it, tried to convince people to upgrade it, then they will switch over the long-range all-wheel drive Model Y to get all of these changes. It'll be available with the smaller, more efficient tires. It'll be the best, or at least one of the best ranges on a Model Y ever achieved. But I wouldn't be shocked if that entry-level Model Y keeps the dated design. That design that we all see on the roads today. There's really nothing wrong with it, but they just hold that around for a while so that all of the ones they have in stock they can sell, because it'll be a specific configuration that the refresh doesn't have available. So a lot of people will feel inclined, well, if I want the ventilated seats, if I want the rear-mounted display, if I want the ambient lighting and the new look and design, all of that, I gotta buy performance, and I don't want to wait anymore, so I'll just buy performance. And then after that, okay, I don't want to wait anymore, so I'll just buy a long range with all-wheel drive, even though I may not necessarily need dual motor powertrain. And then once Tesla completely sells out of all of the remaining single motor long range Model Ys, which I think is probably the best seller right now, and they've got lots of them piling up in inventory lots, I've seen them firsthand, they're gonna probably apply a bunch of inventory discounts on that one, one, you'll probably see a lot of them after the tax credit going for like $30,000 or $28,000. They start getting really, really cheap, and then eventually, yes, they will make a refreshed Juniper Model Y in the single motor long range configuration, which should be the most affordable. But the rollout of how they do this is going to be totally dependent on the demand, the amount of orders coming in for each trim, and the price points. But because the Model Y is currently Tesla's bestseller, it's their bread and butter, I wouldn't be shocked at all if they raise the price on the refresh just to try to figure out what the demand is like. At least for content creators and journalists out there will probably be a big influx of orders no matter how much more expensive the Model Y is, so Tesla probably wants to lock in that margin. But what do you guys think of the new position of the license plate being moved to the bumper, the tailgate getting a light bar, which is probably going to take up a lot bigger chunk of the tailgate than before? All of those thoughts and your predictions about the rollout, the timing, feel free to drop them down in the comments below, because we're really only a couple of months away at this point. It's already October. This might be a refresh we see within the next couple of weeks, and the Wii Robot event is just a distraction. But anywho, thank you to everybody supporting this channel directly. It seriously helps us out a lot, as does just watching these videos. So thanks again. Have an excellent rest of your day.